Brownsville Minute, a community-conscious conversation and a platform that provides information, wellness, love, and unity all on a digital platform. And our goal is to try to make sure that our community residents are informed, conscious, and that we are connecting the dots on a virtual platform. The Brownsville Minute is designed for everyone. Please join us with the Brownsville Minute. Good evening, good people. Happy Thursday. Almost the end of the week. Hope that you are remaining safe, sane, and sound. Welcome to the Brownsville Minute, Season 2. I told you, as we keep moving on, it's going to get better and better. I am Anita Pierce, your host, and I want to welcome you to the Brownsville Minute. I am excited about who we are going to have on tonight's show because, I always try to link our communities to the best and the brightest that's out there. So I am really excited to see what's happening, what's going on, and to provide you with some of the information. I am going to just do like a brief introduction, describe, what the Brownsville Minute is for those who are just joining us for the first time. I think you are in for a treat. I know it's a nice day outside. So, for those who, chose to go take that nice walk today, hopefully you all got some sun. But just know that the Brownsville Minute is a platform where we have conscious conversations about issues that impact residents of East Brooklyn. However, we chose to target specifically Ocean-Hill Brownsville. And within this platform, we gear our conversations about the topics that are really important to our community stakeholders, namely things like health, finances, both at the business and also at the personal level, small businesses, which we're going to talk about today, civic engagement, and more. So our community has decided that we will take ownership of the narrative that has been put forth specifically in underserved communities. So it's important that we find solutions that are multifaceted, where we are getting out information on a digital platform and also with our street soldiers, because we find that that still is important. I am the principal owner of 11375. We are individuals and business consulting groups that provide foundational education that closes the learning gap to small businesses, nonprofit, and we also work with government and also city agencies as well. We also like to consider ourselves as business and community advocates, and we attempt and aim to provide socially relevant work that promotes the overall wellness within the areas of finance, both business and personal, overall wellness, and also civic engagement. The business is certified with the City of New York and State of New York as a minority women business enterprise. So if you're interested in learning more about what we do, please check out our website at 11375.com. So we're talking about small businesses today, and I am really excited to introduce our first guest, Mr. Deshaun Mars, who is the Senior Director of Business Recovery at the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce, where he is responsible for the Chamber's recovery efforts to small businesses. So this is right in line with all that's happening with small businesses, particularly within Brooklyn. But it's not just Brooklyn. This is happening as a global pandemic. But it's nice to know the type of support that small businesses can tap into within our own backyard. Previously, he was the Director of Business Outreach at the New York City Department of Small Business Services. And just as a plug, as I mentioned on previous episodes about these services at the Department of Small Business Services that are for free. So while we're not promoting the Department of Small Business Services, we are promoting about other opportunities that are existing within the community in our backyard. And so that was his previous place of work. But currently, he is at the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce. He is a graduate of Brown University. Deshaun is a proud New Yorker. He's born and raised in Crown Heights section of Brooklyn. So he's our neighbor. Welcome to the stage, Deshaun. Hey.
Perfect. Good evening. It's been a long time coming since we've collaborated on this project here. So I'm really, really excited to finally be on the Brownsville Minute.
He acting like he a distant cousin, but he not. So welcome to the Brownsville Minute. We are super excited to learn more about what you're doing, especially now. But I just really want to jump in and talk about how did you get your start in public service? And everybody, I told you Savannah was going to pop in, so there's her 2 minutes of fame. How did you get started?
Yeah, so very good question. Hi. Yeah, so how did I get started? Very good question. So it started back when I was in high school. I went to both public and private schools. And when I had an opportunity to transfer to from my local public school to a private school, I saw a lot of those educational disparities. And for me, because of the education that I was able to receive, it opened up so many opportunities for me, both personally and professionally. So I said that after I got back from college, I came right back home, got to work, and my entire mission is making sure that people have access to opportunities so they can thrive. And really excited to be doing this work. But it really all started from me seeing that the educational disparities between certain communities and what we get in Central and East Brooklyn. And I want to make sure that we can close that gap to make sure that no matter where you're from, that you have access to the opportunities that you need.
That's really great to hear because oftentimes it's always interesting to hear how one started within public service because it just like I say volunteerism and doing community work, it's not for everyone. So when you have a connection, you're passionate about it, it makes the work like it's not really work. It makes it like something that you're really passionate about. So yeah, it's
Mhm.
really great to hear.
No,
So
absolutely.
so let's jump right in because I know inquiring minds want to know. So you're at the chamber now. What is the chamber? What is it?
Yeah. So people ask us that question all the time. So what is the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce? What is the Chamber of Commerce in general? So to give you some background about what we do at the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce, we like to think of ourselves as the eyes and the ears of the business community. So that means working with policymakers, city council members, elected officials, people who really have a hand in creating legislation and creating a hand in developing policies that will impact the business community. We want to make sure that they understand the impacts of the legislation, the laws, the policies on our minority and women-owned businesses, our businesses of color. So a lot of the work that we do is making sure people understand what's going to happen with legislation on the business community. In addition to that, at the Brooklyn Chamber, we also provide what we call technical assistance. And that's just a fancy word to say we provide services to help entrepreneurs and business owners start their businesses, operate their businesses better. And if you're looking to expand your business, we can also support. So free business courses. I know that there are a lot of entrepreneurs in the community who have great business ideas, but you might not have been able to put that business idea on paper. You might not know anyone else who's been an entrepreneur or a business owner. So we provide a number of free business courses that you can take to help with your business plan, to help you think about, is my business idea viable? And can I generate revenue from it? So we have a lot of business courses that we can take for entrepreneurs and business owners at a bunch of different levels. And a lot of our business owners are constantly asking about access to capital and financing. So we have staff members here at the Brooklyn Chamber that can also work with you one-on-one to figure out what are your financing needs to really finance your business idea and to make sure that you can take that great idea that you have to make a difference in your community. We want to turn that idea into a full-fledged business. So we take you from point A, from that idea, all the way to getting that financing, to how to operate a business, how to get your business plan together. So we do everything all in between.
Wow, that I mean, you said something like I'm personally clear, but you said some really interesting things about. It's almost like you serve as like particularly for small business, like you really help us to walk through the process. It's not just a membership based organization, which is really key, in my opinion. And so leading into just thinking about, some of the specific work that you are tasked to do in your new role with the recovery. So we know for sure that businesses of color have been impacted, businesses in general, but particularly when you really narrow down to the average business, they've either closed down as a result of COVID, or or hanging on by a string right now. Is What type of services do you offer currently for recovery or in that area for small businesses?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we know from COVID that has completely decimated our economy in New York City. But like you said, in particular, our businesses in Central Brooklyn, East Brooklyn, our businesses of color. So before the pandemic and before the shutdown, we talked to a lot of businesses, and many of our businesses didn't have enough cash on hand in case there was a business disruption. And COVID was the ultimate example of a business disruption, because we all remember a year ago when we put pause on the economy. We shut down a number of businesses. Businesses couldn't operate, and a lot of our businesses weren't generating that revenue because they were closed. Many of our businesses weren't operating online quite yet. So it disproportionately impacted businesses that didn't have a lot of capital and financing to withstand being closed for even a couple of weeks. So there are some structural barriers that are in place for why certain businesses didn't have the capital that they needed to withstand that business disruption. And unfortunately, a lot of our businesses were hit especially hard. So we are part of a public-private partnership with the other 4 borough chambers of commerce throughout New York City. And we're working with the Economic Development Corporation, so that's EDC, which some people might be aware of, the Partnership for New York City, and we're working with the Peterson Foundation. And what we're doing is we have recovery specialists that are on staff at the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce that are providing one-on-one, individual, personalized, no cost, pro bono, free recovery services to help you in your business. So we're connecting businesses to financing, marketing support, technology help. You might need some legal assistance or maybe some one-on-one business strategy consulting. We're connecting business owners directly to those services and more. So on the financing front, I just talked about how a lot of our businesses didn't have enough cash on hand or capital to withstand their business disruption. We've been helping businesses access financing. We've also been working with businesses to help them access the PPP. So you all may have heard of all of these different acronyms. So the Paycheck Protection Program, which is from the federal government, there is a forgivable loan. That money turns into a grant if you use a certain portion of that SBA money for your payroll costs. So a lot of business owners need help actually filling out their applications or just understanding what the rules and regulations are in order to access different types of financing. So we've been working with businesses one-on-one to make sure they understand that these are the applications, these are the different resources that are available on the financing front. We talked about how there's been a massive business disruption. Even before COVID, and Anita, you know this, there's been a lot of competition with online retailing from the Amazons of the world, the Walmarts of the world. And unfortunately, that's been squeezing a lot of our small mom and pop businesses. So if beforehand it was hard to compete, it's even more difficult now, where if you're on Pitkin or you're on Sutter or you're on Rockaway and you aren't getting that same foot traffic, a lot of our local businesses depend on that foot traffic in their local areas for their business. But what happens to that dry cleaners when people aren't going to work anymore and they aren't dropping their clothes off anymore? A lot of our businesses are thinking about how do they pivot and how do they now start operating online. So we've been helping businesses get their websites. We're offering one-on-one consultations to help them with the digital operations. because if you don't have an online presence nowadays, it's going to be very, very hard for you to compete as a business. So we're helping people with their marketing to think about, okay, people aren't walking outside and stopping in your store anymore. So you might need to go to social media. Gonna have to build you a website. Gonna have to think about how to be intentional with your marketing to bring in a larger customer base. Maybe you need to sell your services online. So these are all the different things that we're doing at the Brooklyn Chamber to really help businesses not only get through COVID, but it's going to be a very different business environment after we get through the pandemic. So we want to make sure that our businesses in East Brooklyn are prepared for that shift. So we have recovery specialists that work with you one-on-one just to make sure that we're connecting you to the right resources to help you just get through this pandemic.
So do you want to share your information? And what I'm also going to do while Deshaun is setting up, I'm going to just show again, some of the information that he did talk about. The Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce does have an active website specifically for COVID-19. And then some of the work is through the New York City Small Business Resource Network that he started to talk about. We're going to actually elaborate on that more. So I'm going to add you to the screen. There you go.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. Yeah. So these are the resources that we're connecting people to. Again, on the financing front, helping get you access to the Paycheck Protection Program and that federal money that we are all entitled to. We also have some grants that are available for restaurants and other businesses. So we have over 120 different resources from both the public and the private sectors that we're combing through constantly. We're talking to businesses one-on-one, and we're like the matchmakers and the case managers, where we're following you to make sure that we can get you access to the resources that you need specifically. I also just mentioned two other resources. Our pro bono legal assistance. So that's no cost legal assistance. You might be dealing with your landlord as a commercial tenant in if you're operating out of a commercial space. And what happens if you haven't been able to generate revenue or pay your rent in a number of months or for the entire year because business is down and people aren't walking around and shopping the way they used to? We have legal assistants and lawyers that we're working with to help make sure that you understand the rights that you have under your commercial lease. So on the legal front, we have organizations that are providing free services. And then we have so many different businesses and entrepreneurs who I'm talking to daily who are saying, hey, I just need to talk to somebody about my business ideas, about what I'm thinking for the future. What are my financial projections? Sometimes we don't know what we don't know. So it's always great to have a coach, a mentor, somebody that can work with you individually to talk about your business plan and your business ideas. So we have a number of volunteer organizations that we're working with as well that are providing that one-on-one coaching around marketing, technology help, financial projections. How do you get the word out about your business? So we're also offering that one-on-one support as well. I know that Anita put up the website, but I'm just going to display this screen here for one quick second. So take your screenshots, take your pictures, write down our information here. But if you go to smallbiz.nyc, that's smallbiz.nyc, you give us your information, you fill out a very quick and easy intake form, which takes less than 5 minutes. You tell us what resources you're looking for, and one of our staff members from our recovery team will get in contact with you right away so we can talk about the resources we have and what's happening with your business. Last thing I'll mention about the program, well, a couple of last things. One, it's no cost to you. So you do not need to be a member of the chamber. You don't need to have paid for a membership to be part of the chamber to get access to these resources. These resources are no cost to you. And we also have a recovery specialist on staff who works specifically for the hospitality and restaurant industries. So if there are any businesses that are on the line, if you're a restaurant, we have a restaurant specialist that can work with you. She's been in the space for well over 15 years. And there's so many different regulations for our restaurants. They've been hit very, very hard with the shutdown, with the reduced and limited capacity. So we have a restaurant specialist dedicated to the restaurant industry to also help them recover as well.
This is great.
Yeah.
This is great. So I actually see that there is actually a question in the chat. So I'm actually going to put that in between some of our comments to engage some of our viewers. Hey, Nikki, thank you for joining. The question that Nikki has is, do you have to be a business in Brownsville? I live in Manhattan.
All right, so Nikki, that's a perfect question. And I'm so glad that you asked that. So our program is citywide. I work for the Brooklyn Chamber, the best borough that's out there. But no shade to my colleagues in the other 4 boroughs. But there's chambers of commerce in Queens, Manhattan, Bronx, and Staten Island. They are also part of this program. So if you go to that website, once you fill out the information, you tell us where your business is located or where you're located, and one of our colleagues from that borough's Chamber of Commerce will get in contact with you.
And then Nikki has some great questions. Thank you for your response, Deshaun. So Nikki asks again, what is the membership fee if you wanted to join the chamber?
Yep. So I'll talk about some of the benefits of becoming a member. And again, you don't need to be a member to access the resources to help you recover. But there are some benefits around being part of a business group like a Chamber of Commerce, because we do a lot of networking and we do a lot of B2B networking. So that just means business to business. We get business owners together. We have networking sessions, so you can talk to other business owners, hand out your business cards. You might spark up a conversation with somebody like Anita, who's doing phenomenal work, and you might figure out that there's a way for you to collaborate. So what's special and magical about a chamber is that you are part of a dedicated group of entrepreneurs and business owners where you can work with each other, collaborate with each other, potentially sell to each other and do business together. So that's one of the benefits of joining a chamber. We have different levels of membership. Our lowest membership is $40 a month. So that won't break the bank, and you'll get access to entrepreneurs and business owners that are part of the chamber. We have exclusive membership events and different places. We have talks and different speakers who come in. So it's a really great network to be part of. I don't like to lead with, hey, membership costs X, Y, and Z, because it is a very difficult time to be operating a business at this moment. But we did realize that for businesses that were not connected to a business improvement district, a merchants association, a chamber of commerce, some type of business development group, those businesses fared worse, unfortunately, during COVID. So it's great to just be part of a network where you can get up-to-date information about new rules and regulations. And I don't want to toot the chamber's horn, but you can guarantee that the information that we're giving you is up to date and it's verified. So you know that once you're talking to somebody on my staff at the chamber, you know that you're getting the right information. And Anita can probably tell you, there's so much information that's out there. So go to a trusted resource like a Brownsville Minute. Go to the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce, because we will cut through all of the noise. We will break it down and we'll say, hey, these are the 3 things that you need to understand. Because if you're left to your own devices and on your own without much direction, there's just too much information that's out there. So we want to make sure that we're compiling all that information and getting you the information that you need. So those are some of the benefits of joining a place like a chamber.
So, and if I may add, there are some other benefits that, yes, always toot your horn, always, right? So always, but, they're verified. So check look the check mark on Instagram. But in all seriousness, the way I think about organizations such as the chamber, it's almost like having someone holding your hand in terms of like guiding you as a mentor, even though it's not structured, but it's more like informal, particularly if you need guidance. And a lot of times, again, we don't, for some reason, right, don't either know about the services, or when we find out about the services, when we hear free, we want to, push it to the side. But I'm going to tell my little testimony, because when I started my business almost 5 years ago, I snapped through all of the free services, because if it's there, they're receiving support to provide information for free to small businesses that are just starting up. It's a benefit. That means that instead of paying for, a business coach, where I sit now, you can go and get some of those things done for free and then come back to me to help with other things, right? So it saves you in the beginning, particularly when you're starting off. We don't always have all of we don't have the capital in the beginning. So as Deshaun mentioned, they can help, to figure out, what is our appropriate business structure, like really fundamental stuff. And it may seem really small, but when you go to someone else who's selling you this, right, it can cost you. And before you even start to make money, you're dealing with that. So think about, particularly if you're just starting business, or if you need help and support, consider the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce like the OGs, right? That's how I look at it. They are original guardians that can help you with your businesses, that can help to support you. And it's nothing wrong with utilizing the free services. So Nikki, how you gonna be in Harlem? I'm teasing Nikki, but I appreciate you. But you need to probably move to Brooklyn. You need to probably move to Brooklyn.
You got to come through, Nikki. This is the place to be. Brooklyn is the place to operate. So I'm not gonna hide how I feel about Brooklyn here.
Neither am I. We Brooklyn. So Nikki says that she's been in New York City for 2 years. This is great to get to know the business community. I'm currently a member of Grameen. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, in Harlem. So yes, and you putting up haha. And so I'm gonna put you on to engage you into the community. So thank you for your input. I wanted to just shift just a little bit, because I know that overall the chamber is providing the services. What about post-COVID? I mean, the summer is coming. I know that we're doing the vaccinations, and folks are really trying to get back to some sort of what the new normal may look like. Has the chamber been thinking about what recovery looks like next year? I know that's probably long. Seems like, well, actually, we're almost at the end of the first quarter. So, any thoughts, or that you can share in terms of providing information to the community?
Yeah, so I think we're going to be in a recovery period, unfortunately, for a little while. There have been too many businesses that have closed their doors because of the pandemic. So first and foremost, we want to make sure that we can keep and save as many businesses as possible, because if you close your doors now, there's no telling if you're going to be able to get back on that train and to reopen your business. So a lot of the recovery efforts now are, let's just try to figure out how many businesses we can save and get access to the information. Now, moving forward, like I mentioned before, pre-COVID, we've already seen an acceleration and a shift to online shopping. You need to have an online presence, competition from the Amazons of the world. So COVID has just really put that in overdrive. So I think what's going to happen is we are going to have to figure out for businesses, how do you operate in a very different and new reality? So that's going to be a lot of the work that's going to have to happen both at the chamber, at the city, even other organizations that are providing business development services. So we're really thinking through, what does that shift look like for businesses? What type of technical assistance do we need to be providing our businesses? Because it's not business as usual. If you are a mom and pop business, and I've spoken to so many businesses who are telling me that they do not do online. They don't have a website. They don't understand how to operate digitally. And a lot of our businesses haven't had to operate in that world before, because a lot of your clientele and customers were folks who lived in the community, who walked on by, who stopped in your shop, who might have been coming home from work, getting off the train, stopping in your place of business. But a lot of folks aren't getting that same customer base like they were beforehand. So businesses have to think out the box in terms of their marketing and how they need to be operating online. So a big shift is going to be figuring out what's going to happen with operating online and operating in that space. A lot of our businesses will need to operate there. Obviously, access to financing is going to be key, especially now with many of our businesses in rent arrears. We did a survey of the business community, and the majority of our businesses over the last year haven't been able to pay rent, have had to pay reduced rent, are trying to figure out what they can do with their landlords. So that's going to be huge with the moratorium eviction, with the eviction moratorium, trying to figure out what's going to happen with all of that back rent. You know, we got a lot of good stuff in the federal relief bill that was just recently passed, but these are all the different things that are coming down the pike now. So these are different things that we're watching as a chamber, but most importantly, we need to save as many businesses as possible and help you to compete in this very, very different business environment.
And so I really appreciate that. And so I'm just going to check to see if there's any more questions. We have, Mary Ray says, thank you for the information. I'm in the Brownsville community. So shout out to you, Mary Ray, for joining us. But I don't see any other questions as I search. I think you presented like very clear information, so I guess not. So I'm actually going to just post a lot of the particularly about the New York City Small Business Resources Network that you mentioned, the one-on-one business service support. And also, this will also be on replay and also posted on our Facebook pages of all of our local community partners. So I'm really excited about that. And for contact information, Deshaun, how can we reach you?
Yes. So for anyone here who is on the broadcast, you can send me an email. My information is right there on the page. It's dmars@brooklynchamber.com. And just let me know that you're from Brownsville, that you saw the Brownsville Minute, that you're in the community. You know, I'll make sure I'm extra responsive if you were on the broadcast or you're from East Brooklyn here. But with all seriousness, please email me. Let me know what you're looking for. We have a team of dedicated specialists whose job it is to work with you one-on-one. And we are very, very passionate about this work. I care very deeply about my community. And I just want to say one thing about the business community in New York City and in Brooklyn. A lot of times when people think about a chamber of commerce, they think about an old, stuffy organization or a big corporation. But typically, a lot of our businesses in New York City and in Brooklyn, and the majority of our chamber members are MWBE. So that's businesses of color and women-owned businesses. And more oftentimes, they're micro businesses. So very, very small businesses. And also, in addition to that, these are businesses that are hiring locally. So businesses hiring from the community, businesses providing vital services for our community. So when we think about the business community, it's very, very critical and very important that we have a robust business economy in New York City, because that's wealth for our communities. These are immigrant-owned businesses and people who are just trying to figure it out and want to support their communities and support their families. So that's oftentimes who the businesses are. So get in contact with us because we want to make sure that we are helping all of our businesses survive, but we're very passionate and we want to make sure that our businesses are here to stay because our businesses are creating the culture in our communities. So it would be a travesty if our businesses aren't able to make it through COVID. And we have other businesses coming in from the outside who are able to take advantage of COVID because, you know, rent prices are lower now because, you know, tenants aren't able to pay as much rent. So this might benefit businesses who have more capital and more financial means. So we want to make sure that the businesses who built our communities are able to stay there for the long term.
And thank you for that. Wow.
Yeah.
So you cannot say that you didn't know. Please be sure to spread the word about the resources and services that the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce has. I'm actually going to plug again the information about the New York City Small Business Resource Network. Again, and as Deshaun mentioned, a lot of these services are for free. So do not be ashamed to ask for help in times of need, because where we are right now, we all need it. So on that note, Deshaun, I want to say thank you so much. And I hope and look forward to having you on again, because Small Business Month is coming up. So we can definitely think about, you know, working together again. So I look forward to the extended partnership, and thank you for your time and commitment for the Brooklyn and also business community. Thank you so much.
I know. Thank you. Thank you. No, looking forward to coming on again.
All right. Take good care.
All
All right. Enjoy
care.
the rest of your day. Stay safe.
All right. You too. All right. Take care, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye. So what I'd like to just jump right in, because this is what makes the business community so wonderful. You know, we actually have an opportunity to interview a number of different small businesses within the community. And now I have an opportunity to interview someone who isn't really a stranger to the program. He may be familiar or not familiar to all of you, but we've known each other for quite some time. But now we are all on our business journey, which makes it really unique to this part of where we are right now. So I want to introduce to all Mr. Greg Bartholomew, who is a licensed real estate agent and also an investor. He does hold space within Brownsville. So I think it's important that we highlight all of those who are making the community grow, those who want to invest within the community, stay within the community, grow businesses in the community, need to be highlighted. So I want to welcome Greg. How you doing?
I am doing well, Anita. Thank you for having me on your show. It is a pleasure to be on and to talk to your audience. And again, it's a pleasure to be on. Thank you for having me.
So just a question. What are you doing now, right? And how did you get your start in investing in real estate? So tell us a little bit about your business.
Okay, so as Anita told you guys, my name is Greg Bartholomew, and I've been a licensed real estate agent for 12 years. I've worked in the market of Manhattan and Brooklyn. Right now, I am focusing on Brownsville, Ocean-Hill, and East New York. I live in the community of Brownsville. I'm invested in the Brownsville community. I own a home here in Brownsville community. So Brownsville is my hood, and my goal is to help people build generational wealth through buying and selling real estate. And you know, and I'm also into investing. My family's been into investing for years, so it's only natural for me to be part of in the real estate community and to work as a realtor. And then also not only working as a realtor to help people to generate wealth, but me myself as an investor to provide affordable housing for people.
Well, you said a mouthful, right? So I'm trying to figure out where to begin. So you hit on some really key concerns about creating generational wealth. So I actually want to start, if I may, from that point about, your belief system in terms of the importance of creating generational wealth through real estate. Because for most, that seems very foreign and strange. Could you elaborate on that process and your thinking behind creating generational wealth that way?
Yeah, I believe one of the best ways to build generational wealth is through real estate. Real estate is an asset that you can pass down to your children and your children's children. Uh, a lot of times people think they can get rich or build wealth through working at a job or a company or for the city, but you can't pass that down to your children. So, and then plus, this is a land that provides, or owning property provides, a lot of benefits in this country as far as tax breaks, wealth that can beat the inflation, cash flow monthly, and then appreciation over time. So you're hitting a lot of avenues as far as building wealth, generally generational wealth for your family.
And so the belief is just to start with, one home as your main, and then leading on to the next.
Yes, you can start if you're renting. And a lot of people say, well, I don't want to rent anymore, or I'm tired of renting. I want my own place. And the best way I tell people is, own a multi-family home. So what you can do is house hack. It's called house hacking. So you own a multi-family home where it could be 2-family, 3-family, or 4-family. In Brownsville, you have a lot of 2, 3, and 4-family homes. And then what you can do is, when you purchase one of those properties, you can have your tenants pay your mortgage for you, and then you're living rent free or mortgage free. So basically, you're starting to generate wealth and having your cash flow going, and also your tenants are paying down your mortgage while you're building the equity over time on your property.
So I have a question, right? Because typically, we see, right, on social media, it's really become popular, depending on who you follow, house flipping, etc. But there is a gray that I don't see elevated about, from the time you do your investment, right? You decide that this is the route that you want to go in, to actually renting to an actual tenant. And oftentimes, one may not account for that gap, right? So what are your recommendations from the time, I guess, you finish your rehabbing, if it needs to be rehabbed, to actually renting the property? Like, how do you recommend that they fill in that gap?
Well, what you're talking about is, let's go back. A lot of people, when they watch HGTV, they see the house flippers. So, and they get emotional about what they're watching. And, it's good if that is going to be your forever home. But if you're just starting out, the best way to do is what's called a BRRRR method. What it is that you buy a home that is distressed, and then what you do is you rehab the home, and then you would rent it out. And then after you rent it out, you'll refinance the home, and then you repeat the whole process, so you can build a portfolio of real estate investment or property. That's one of the best ways to get started, because a lot of times first-time home buyers are like, well, how do I get started if I don't have a lot of money? Well, there's programs for first-time home buyers. You have NACA, you have FHA, even conventional, where you could, starting next month, or actually, even this, you can go with conventional and putting down as little as 5%. A lot of times people is like, well, I got to put down 20%. not necessarily true. You can just put down 5% if it's conventional, 3.5% if it's FHA. NACA will help you with the down payment, so you don't even have to have come in with a down payment. NACA will help you. Or if you've served in the military, you can also get a VA loan. So there's a lot of ways, a lot of avenues where you can obtain financing to own your first property.
That's really interesting. So you mentioned a number of different programs. I'm actually familiar with NACA, so I'm actually going to plug their information in the chat, along with Greg's information into the chat as one of the options that Greg mentioned, so you can refer to it. So my next question, Greg, so you talked about investing. Do you want to talk about the not investing and just, someone who doesn't have the strength and they just want to buy a home?
Well, if they just want to buy a home, you can still generate generational wealth by the equity of that home. So let's just say it's your first time buying the home, but you want to make that your forever home. Now you have to understand, when you're buying your home, you want to make sure that you can make the monthly payment, and you can live comfortably. You don't want to be house poor, where you just every time your paycheck is going into that mortgage and the necessities of maintaining the house. But putting that all aside, you can still build generational wealth by owning a single family home. So then you can pass that down to your children and your children's children. So I always say, don't sell grandma's home, because grandma's home has equity in that home, because 20 years ago, she probably had brought that house $150,000. Now, in the Brooklyn market, that's probably worth anywhere between $500,000 to $1 million, $500,000 to $1 million.
Now, would you be able to explain what equity is, just in case one may not be familiar with that term?
Equity is the appreciation that you've gained from the house. So, for example, you brought a house for $300,000, and you're making your payments. You're paying down the mortgage, but in time, your property is increasing in value. So let's just say in 5 years' time, your house is worth $600,000. So you have built up an equity of $300,000, but you also been paying down your mortgage, so you probably have more. You probably put in more. You have more equity, so you have more than $300,000 if you pay down your mortgage on a monthly on a timely basis. So therefore, that way, the equity that you built, let's just say you decide to buy another property, then you can take money out of your house and then purchase another property. Or if you want to upgrade, then you have that equity where you can take out the money that you have in your house, or you can sell it for a profit, and then use the capital gains or the profit to buy a bigger property.
That's very interesting. So you saying that anybody who want to upgrade and get that pool, they can, if they have the equity in it.
You can use that money to build a pool in your backyard if you want.
So I see there's a couple of questions in the chat, and I don't want to miss the opportunity to get our community involved. We're watching live. So if I may take a few questions from the community. There's a question, I'm actually going to show it from Miss Roxanne Lane. Hey, Miss Roxanne. It says, how difficult is it to obtain a rehab loan?
It's not as difficult as people think it is. For example, FHA, You can do this. There's a regular FHA where you could buy your first time home, your first home, or you can use what's called a 203K loan, which is a rehab loan for the FHA, and you can still put down 3.5%. So if you found a distressed home, the FHA 203K program will help, will lend you not only the money to purchase the home, but lend you the money to rehab the home. So it's fairly easy. If you can if you have 3.5% down to make the purchase, you can go ahead and uh, qualify for the FHA. Also, your credit score doesn't have to be that high for FHA. It could be as low as 580.
And that being low, which will mean that your interest rate will be according to your credit, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, give or take what the interest rate is going on in the what's happening in this country, but it depends on your income, depends how much savings you have, it depends how much liquid assets you have. So it could fluctuate. It could be anywhere from 4 to 6%. But yet, if you're using that FHA rehab loan and you're using it to buy a multi-family home and you rehab it, then you put your tenants in there. These people are going to be paying your mortgage for you while you're still working. When the income that you're generating from your job, you can save that up.
So I'm going to ask you a different question. So specifically for communities of color, what are some of the challenges from your years of experience that you've noted? And how do we improve our opportunities to be able to become homeowners and investors in real estate?
Well, number one, the biggest challenge is for our community is the lack of knowledge on what it takes or what are the process of buying a home. A lot of people have a lot of ideas of what the process is of buying a home from watching television and whatnot, but there is a process to home buyer, to purchase your home to purchase your home. So number one is a lack of knowledge. Number two, not understanding their credit score, because a lot of times people look at Credit Karma and they say, "Whoa, I have a 700 score," and banks are not looking at Credit Karma. Credit Karma is false. So you want to get your credit report, your credit score from a reputable company like FICO.com, or you can get your yearly free credit report. But also, banks look at a specific credit score to do what's called the vantage points. So you have to understand where your credit score is according to the type of reports you're getting, and also the source you're getting your credit score from. Also, savings is very important, and then but those are the two things. I think those are the two things people have a misunderstanding or a lack of knowledge is as far as buying a home in our community is the process and credit. Understanding how you can use credit to build generational wealth.
So you heard it. Stop looking at Credit Karma. Right there. So I see some more questions are populating within the chat, because I guess you have generated some questions, but I also like to allow for, we type slow sometimes. So I'm going to just show. So hi, Anne. Anne asks, can I use points to also pay my interest rate down?
Yeah.
Now, what is points? What does that mean for those who don't know?
Well, points is usually a percentage that you would pay depending on the interest rate. Usually, you would ask a lender, a reputable and a good lender, and they can explain uh, uh, the points that they use because every different banks have different requirements or products, so it can vary from bank to bank, lender to lender.
Okay.
I hope I answered that
So,
question.
Anne, I hope that answered your question. If not, I'm going to allow for you to respond in the chat, but I'm going to post up the next question, Greg, which is from Mary Ray. Is there any loans out there for seniors to repair their home, specifically for seniors?
Well, it all depends. Again, to repair your homes, a lot of time people do a cash out, what's called a cash out refinance, where you can talk to your specific lender or the bank that you pay your mortgage to, and you call them up to see if they're doing cash out refinance. I know last year because of COVID, banks were really strict and kind of tight as far as giving out cash out refinance because people were losing their jobs. But this year, 2021, banks should open up, and you should ask your specific bank and see if they offer cash out refinance so you can make the repairs on your home.
Okay, great. Anne says, yes, you did answer her question. So the same with you, Mary Ray. If that is sufficient, please let us know in the chat. But also, as we begin to wrap up our segment, I wanted to make sure that we know where to find you. And if you have any wrap-up comments for our community, Greg.
Yeah, so you can find me at greg@boldrealty.com, and you can visit my website at boldrealty.com. Also, I am also on Instagram at boldrealty, one word. And you can contact me on the phone number, which is 646-641-2421. Anybody that have any questions as far as buying their first home, or if they want to sell their first, if they want to sell their first home, if they want to sell their homes to upgrade or downgrade, I can help them. And then if anybody's having trouble keeping up with their mortgage payments, I can help them find a solution so they don't go into foreclosure. And then whatever real estate questions or real estate needs, I can help them. Again, I'm invested in this community, and I feel like people who are that are homeowners in Brownsville, Ocean-Hill, or East New York have a vested interest in their community as well. So I want people to own and also build generational wealth. Also, I have resources as far as lenders that they can talk to if they have questions about refinancing their home or needing lending to purchase their first home or another home.
So, Greg, to my mistake, would you please repeat your number? So, because we have a number of folks asking for your number.
Okay.
Thank you.
Number is 646
Mm-hmm.
641
Mm-hmm.
2421.
646 641 2421.
Yeah, 641 2421.
Okay. 646 64. Oh gosh. 646 641 2421. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
You guys can call me anytime. I don't sleep. Well, I do sleep, but I'm open all the time. Business is always open.
We always tell that story. We don't sleep, but we do have to sleep as entrepreneurs in
Absolutely.
order for us to be able to do the work that we're doing. So, Greg, do you have any wrap-up comments? Because, we come to our time, and I would love to have you on the show again to provide some additional information.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I touched on some of the basic things that people usually have questions about, but I can always come back and talk in more detail as far as how to invest in real estate. But also, I think it's important that our community starts thinking about uh, owning property, not because there's a lot of reasons, but when we do that, we have control of our community. When we own our property, we're vested into our community. And also, when I mean by we have control of our community, that would mean the police department, that would mean the fire department, sanitation, and then also our elected officials. Because when we have ownership and a stake an investment in our community, people will listen because we're the voters. We have the power, and when you own property, you develop a certain power in your community.
Now, I didn't have to say any of that, so because y'all know my two-bit story that I've been saying for quite some time about, being invested in your community and being civically involved within your community. So, Greg, I want to thank you for stopping by the Brownsville Minute. I look so forward to having you back on. I'm just going to check again. Miss Mary says you have a voice, so I'm going to put that out there so we can have that on replay. You have a voice with a high exclamation point. So I appreciate you, Miss Mary Ray. We appreciate you, Greg, and look forward to having you on again. So thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure. Have a good night, everyone.
All right, you too. Thank you. So I have, the good pleasure of wrapping up. I want to actually thank you all for, taking a moment out of your busy schedule to join the Brownsville Minute. But, I always got some good stuff to tell you because the goal of the Brownsville Minute is to circulate information within the community. I'm actually going to talk and post, again, our community announcements that ran if you joined a little bit late. Just to make sure that the information that you see gets circulated. So a couple of things. SYEP is happening this year. We have a number of community-based organizations that are looking to fill slots. There are projected to be 70,000 slots. One of the providers is the Italian American Civil Rights League. They will provide SYEP opportunities for this summer. For more information about their SYEP program, please contact Ms. Dorian Nicoletti. The email is listed there at DNICOLETTI@IACRLNYC.org. So that's just one thing I would like to mention. I also wanted to promote about some of the other community activities that happen. Again, we have so many activities that are happening, and this is just one of them. The Brownsville Neon is seeking community stakeholders. Please join every fourth Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Because we're in this digital space, it is hosted via Zoom, so you're more than welcome to access it. It's an opportunity for individuals who are a part of the justice system and those who are not to be able to collectively support this particular program and to work on some things that move the community forward. A couple of job opportunities that have come up. The Brownsville Community Justice Center is hiring. Please check out the opportunities at the Center for Court Innovation, applytojob.com. Apply. They have a number of opportunities that exist both within East Brooklyn, particularly within all of their facilities. So if you have the qualifications, please, take advantage of that. And also, I wanted to mention as well about March the 31st for those small businesses who are still looking to participate in what Deshaun mentioned about the PPP loans. March 31st is the deadline. There has not been any legislation that has passed as of to date that the date will be extended. So please, that if you are interested in getting support for the PPP or the EDIL or any of those resources that are out there currently, please check out the Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce. There are a number of organizations within the community that is working to make sure that those services go specifically to our small businesses. And on that note, I just want to take an opportunity to really thank our community partners. We have a number of community partners that have agreed to support the Brownsville Minute to be able to expand the information on a digital platform. So I want to shout out the Pickens Avenue Bid, the BMS Family Health Services, Central Brooklyn Economic Development Corporation, Made in Brownsville. It's actually hosted on the Community Board 16 page, and also obviously my business page, which is 11375. We could not do this without the support of our getting the information out to our community residents. So it's always a great focus or a great community endeavor when we are looking to combine our resources to be able to promote information in a multifaceted way. So what you may see here on the Brownsville Minute, you may be able to tell your neighbor, hey, did you check this out? Or did you know about this? And it helps to create a great communication ecosystem within our community. So on that note, I just wanted to plug that we are going to be having our next Brownsville Minute is going to be on April the 15th. We are going to be talking about and really unpacking and educating our community about ranked choice voting. The more that information is circulating within our community, the more we are aware about our rights and how the voting has changed. And then we're going to follow up with on April the 28th, I believe, about the Brownsville BK website, which I'm actually going to show. The Brownsville BK website, brownsvillebk.org, is a website that has been developed specifically for our community. This website is designed to focus in on events so that we'll know what's happening for job resources for small businesses. This is actually going to be managed as a result of our partnership with Central Brooklyn EDC. So we're going to have them on to actually train our community how to use this website and what we can use in order to be able to access the information. So on that note, I want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. Hopefully you gain some insight about small businesses and also real estate. I also want to let you know that, spread the word about the Brownsville Minute. We have these shows on replay, and they will exist on our partners of the 11375, Community Board 16, the Pickens Avenue Bid, BMS Central Brooklyn. So if you missed it, it will be on replay and you can watch it and share it at your leisure. So on that note, stay safe, stay sane, and stay tuned for our community announcements. We appreciate you supporting us on this journey, and thank you so much for joining the Brownsville Minute.
Welcome to the Brownsville Minute, a community-conscious conversation and a platform that provides information, wellness, love, and unity all on a digital platform. And our goal is to try to make sure that our community residents are informed, conscious, and that we are connecting the dots on a virtual platform. The Brownsville Minute is designed for everyone. Please join us with the Brownsville Minute.